J Monkey Funk.
Hello, we are J Monkey Funk. We are going to start up a new channel because that's how we roll. I'm Johnny. This is Jared, also known as Spock or Spockette, whichever you prefer, really.
Spockette.
We're here to review musical junk. Hope you like it. With no further ado, however, we will get started. We're going to give you guys a non-studio sounding review because really it only sounds like that in the studio, and hardly any musicians actually have their own personal studio. So we're going to make it sound as natural as possible. With that being said, we'll be using an SM57 for close miking, no extra processing whatsoever. We'll also be using a DBX reference condenser mic for room miking, also with no extra processing. We're really going to focus on trying to make this as natural sounding as possible. However, if you see any tiny people running around, that's really your problem. You should go see a doctor. Just make sure that you get that checked. Just saying.
And that should be in your brain. And if you see like a little baby like this.
Liam.
Like I said, your problem. Okay, so the first product we're going to be reviewing is the Quilter Labs 101 Mini Amp Head.
Quilter Labs.
It's been very popular lately. There's been a lot of questions for it. We haven't really seen any really good reviews on it, so we're going to start with that one. It is said to be as loud as a 50-watt tube amp. Really? A mini amp? Yeah, that's what we said too. It weighs 2 pounds.
2 pounds.
2 pounds, and it keeps a good tone, however. That's what they say anyway. Factory says.
Quilter Labs.
This is an awesome amp. So we're gonna check that out. Okay, so let's talk about the knobs. First up, we have the gain knob. Pretty self-explanatory. It has a tri-Q knob, which is sort of an EQ preset kind of thing. If you turn it to the full left, it actually scoops out all your mids and leaves the lows and highs. If you turn it to the full right, it scoops out all the bass and increases the gain. It kind of acts as a high-pass filter. It's also not documented as far as we can tell the fact that it increases the gain. It's not actually part of the factory spec, but it does because we have ears. The next knob is going to be the voicing knob, which is sort of their take on 5 different tones. They're all labeled, so I mean, just look at the manual. You can see what the inspiration was for each one. The next one is the high cut knob. It actually does what it says, which is cuts the highs. That's kind of critical for good gain sound, as we all know. Next up is the master volume knob. I'm not going to go over that. It does have a number of RMS watts, however, on the actual thing, so that's handy. Okay, so next up, we're going to talk about our setup so you can actually know what we're running through, so we're not giving you any like weird, it sounded like this, and then we can get it to sound like that, and then you have no idea how that happened.
Because we know you guys are going to sound exactly like that.
Yeah. Except with French accents. We start out with the Shure GLX D16 wireless guitar transmitter, because we don't like chords, and neither should you. Chords are evil. Next up, it runs into the first loop of the ISP Decimator G-string noise reduction pedal. Next up, it runs into a Ibanez Weeping Demon wah, into a Monty...
Here's I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's Monty Looms modded Boss CS3 compressor.
Okay, yeah. Through the Catalan Bred Formula 5 F6, which is then going into the Catalan Bred Dirty Little Secret Mark III. And then it goes into a Weibo
Effecta JVM drive.
Quilter. 101 input jack into a 101 effects loop send jack. Into the second loop of the ISP Decimator G-string noise reduction pedal. It goes into a Morley Little Alligator volume pedal. It goes into a TC Electronic Hall of Fame mini reverb pedal.
So I like actually running that with a kick disc on it. Definitely helps with the control.
It also goes into an Eventide time factor delay pedal. It goes into an Eventide mod factor modulation pedal. 101 effects loop return jack, speaker out, Then into the Marshall 425 amp 4x12 cabinet loaded with G12C Hendrix greenbacks. Or the Vox Night Train G2 112 with Scumbag J75 PVC speaker. And we're going to do our product placement. Also our product placement here. Okay. DBX reference condenser mic for room miking.
Also, in case you guys are wondering about that many effects being run sequentially, this is actually all being controlled with a Rocktron PatchMat Floor 8. So they are all run in true bypass.
For guitars, we will be using either a Mexican Fender Strat or a Jackson DK2MQ. Those are the guitars. Q.
Guess the Q makes it fancy. Now, with all these different effects, we're actually going to run some of the time just through the Quilter, so you can see the different sounds that it has, but then we'll be stacking some pedals into it just so you can see how pedals sound through it, because depending on what you guys are doing, you might run it one way or the other.
Okay, so we're going to do 2 parts. We're going to have the guitar by itself, playing with the pedals and the different effects, and then we're going to do guitar and drums at the same time, so you can kind of see how loud this mini amp can really get. And whether or not it can actually overpower a drum set played by yours truly. So we'll find out. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to go do the guitar review. Just quit with those, like the clean and the dirty and the band and the guitar, and that was gonna be it. And then I said, yo bro, you gotta do something for the guys who live and drop beat, pretty much. That's just the thing that they do. So we went back and we added the special feature. We edited it in, or as I should say, he edited it in, I got them to do it. And now, for your listening pleasure, he also put on a hat. Yeah, I just want to point that out. He's wearing the hat. Okay. And now for your listening pleasure, I'll give you drop beat. Okay, so we've heard the Quilter Labs 101 mini amp head with the guitar only, and we've heard it with guitar and drums in a variety of settings. You, of course, use your own judgment. However, as far as we are concerned, Jared was not a believer. He was not a believer. He didn't want to believe that it could actually perform.
There's no way something that weighs 2 pounds could actually put out enough volume to compete in a band situation and still sound good. No way it was going to happen.
Disbeliever. But because we don't believe the haters, hey, we also don't believe Jared. And so it sounds phenomenally loud. It even sounds good at ridiculously loud settings. It actually exceeded our expectations of a mini amp. After receiving the Quilter Labs 101 mini amp head, Jared traded in his old amp head. We're not going to name any names because we don't want to have any companies mad at us. Just saying.
Just saying, it was a very high-end one of those.
However, we love the Quilter Labs 101 mini amp head. It is awesome. It only weighs 2 pounds. It meets all of our needs, and it can compete in a band setting. And with that, we give it our thumbs up. If you have any questions, comments, complaints, or otherwise uses of opposable thumbs that I don't know about, please leave a comment down below. Other than that, I believe we're going to give this a huge thumbs up. Quilter Labs, keep quilting, and we're moving on with our lives.
J Monkey Funk.
Quilter Labs 101? What is it?
Quilter Labs 101.
Quilter Labs 101. That's what my brain was telling me. I don't believe it.
Trust, Johnny. Trust.
Trust your brain. Yeah.
Should I have a facial expression?
No. What's our tagline? Do we have one? Do we need one? Do we even want one?
And as always, sorry for being weird.
We're not sorry.